What's going on, Crusade lovers? I'm back after a long break, which I'll get into later. You may notice that I'm not using either one of my main machines, the Pavilion or the Inspiron. This is still an Inspiron that I'm using, but it's not my main one, and that's because the mic just decided to cut out on me since the actual port it's plugged into came unsoldered from the motherboard after I dropped it one time. So I'm actually planning on rebuilding that sometime in the future, hopefully this summer, but I'm not totally sure on that. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We are going to be going over the new way to make GFX and sprites in Paint 3D since it's gotten a few updates on how to use it. Now, if you guys remember from the last video I did about this, I didn't show y'all how to make sprites, it was only the GFX. So this time we're going to be going over both, mainly because you guys have waited long enough to see how this project is going that I'm currently working on, as you can see. I think you can all tell who it is, aka the other winner of the poll from August 2022 when I made that video. So before we get started on that, I want to show you guys how to save your files the new way because of these stupid updates that Microsoft decided to put on here for whatever reason. Because now it seems like they're trying to make Paint 3D more and more unusable. Okay, so this was the old way. All you really had to do was just open it up, hit edit and create, and then hit edit with Paint 3D, and then you were done. Seriously, it was that simple. So the new way now is you used to be able to just hit edit with Paint 3D before, just like usual. But of course, since this is the older version, it works. But for most of you, if you still have Windows 10, it's not going to work if you have the newest update of it. So what you have to do now is literally go into Paint 3D, click on New, and it'll create the project. And then go to Canvas, turn the transparent canvas on, and throw your sprite sheet in there. But the thing is now, if you save it, it has to be saved into Paint 3D. So like, if you name this Bart's Sprites like I did, it's not going to save onto the desktop. Because like when you go to edit with Paint 3D on it now, it'll give you an error saying like you need a different kind of app to open this. I don't really know why they did that. I think that's really stupid. So then if you want to open it again, you click on open and then you go to Bart's Sprites. The new way is now if you want to crop it, you gotta click on menu. I'm just waiting for this thing to load. You gotta click on menu and then right click on the file. Or actually, no, not right click. When you click on menu, it should have a save as option on there, and then you want to hit PNG, and then you can save it onto your desktop or your downloads or wherever you want it, and then you open it up, and I think it's File Manager, but I'm not totally sure. Let me just show you real quick. So you click on Save As, Image, the Bart Sprites. It automatically says it in Pictures, but we're going to go to Desktop because that's the easiest. Well, actually, no, we can't do that. We got to go to Downloads. So you click Save, and it'll save it in there. But the new way to crop it is you want to go to Downloads like I just saved it into, You gotta click on it now. Okay, it opens it in photos, but now if you want to crop something, so let's just say, for example, I want to crop out everything else and get this set of sprites right here, because since this is a move set right here, this is actually the side smash. You want to do the best you can to kind of crop everything out and make sure that it's on the edges of the red boxes that the sprites are in. I'm not going to save this, but you guys get the idea. So now that that's done, we can actually get into this tutorial. I just wanted to show you guys how to do that because, like I said, if you guys still have Windows 10, which a lot of you do, I'm pretty sure, you're gonna run into that issue. So we're just gonna move on with that, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do this with your sprites. I'm gonna show you how to make them, if this frickin' thing can load. Okay, so what I've been doing is, so you notice how this sprite right here is a little bit darker than the rest of them. That is actually because I take them from the screenshots that I take from YouTube videos, since these are technically Bart's Mugen or Mugen sprites, whatever you guys like to call it. You see, these two are actually the same. So what I do is I line this big picture up next to one of the sprites that I've already worked with, and I just shrink it down, and I cut out the background and everything, try to get it down as much as I can, try to shrink it, and this is what I end up coming out with. And then, of course, once you're done cropping and cutting out the background, you find the same colors from the other sprites that you've used, and you just put them onto here like I am right now. I'm not going to show you guys this entire process, but whoops, this laptop's a little slow. So you guys get the idea. And then sometimes if I'm not sure where I should put the pixels, I just take, don't worry about that. I just take this right here, a similar sprite, and I copy and paste it. And I move it right down here. So like, as you can see, it's kind of like at an angle like this one is, because you can see his spikes in the front right here, just like you can on this one. So I kind of use this as a template, because you can mirror this actually. So if you really wanted to, you could take this off right here and then move it like this. Now, of course, it's not gonna line up perfectly with this because it's still at like an angle, but you can just use this as a template to kind of get a better idea. Or you could take some of these off right here, like you could take this spike and put it right here, so that way it makes life easier, so you don't have to like kind of trace it around and all that, and it's less coloring for the yellow. And then of course, once you trace everything and take the spike off and everything, which you don't have to, I actually shrunk this one just a tiny bit, and I just used the same colors as before, like I said. And It's not the best, but it turned out pretty good, I'd say.
Okay, so say that you would want to make this just a single sprite right here. All you would really have to do is just crop everything else out, or sometimes what I do is I take boxes like these from my other sprites and I copy and paste them. Then I delete the sprite that's currently in there right now. And just throw this one in there. So that way they're all the same size. And then of course you would want to go to canvas. Actually no, it's not even canvas anymore, it's crop. Yeah. It's been a while since I've used Paint 3D. And there you go. You're pretty much done with it. And then all you would really need to do after that is just get rid of the red box itself. And this essentially works the same way as the GFX did in my video I made almost 2 years ago. And then you're done. Then you just save it, obviously. And then, of course, you don't want to name it Bart Sprites, so I guess we could call this the down air. Oh, well. Yeah, we can just put that as the down air, for example. Just throw it in there. And then, of course, just go into the init file, wherever the hell that's at, and then you can just go in there and change it. Because, like, you can name these whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so now that we put that in, we can see how it looks. I'll have to reload it real quick. Come on. Go! There we go. Okay. Yeah, so the player one thing is a little off. I'm gonna have to move that. Let's see.
Whoa!
That's not bad.
Whoa!
I think the hitbox is a little off. Let me see real quick. Or if I can get Isabel up here. Yes, that's his side smash. For those of you wondering. The famous meme where he hits Homer over the head with it. That's what inspired me to do it. And for this, for his jumps, I kind of wanted to give him like Mega Man jumps. Like, you know how he has that stance when he falls like that? I don't know, I just thought that was cool. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's definitely a little off. I'll fix that later.
Whoa!
But for the most part, I'd say it looks pretty good. It actually looks pretty centered, I'd say. And that's the reason why I always use those boxes, is because they're all the same size, so that way I don't have to, like, change the numbers. Like, I don't have to change the X and Y values of the numbers in there. And it just makes life a whole lot easier. So, I think that's actually going to wrap it up for the sprites, guys. So, now we can move on to the GFX, because as you can see, Bart doesn't have that. I did make GFX for him, but it's on the other Inspiron, so yeah, we're going to have to do that real quick. And this
is the image that we're going to be using. Huge shout out to this guy right here who made it for me so I wouldn't have to. Looks really good. So just going to Paint 3D. We're starting with the C bust because it's the biggest and it'll be the easier one since the image is so huge. Then for like the bust and the portrait and all that, it'll be easier. So then you just throw this in. And then you're pretty much done. Sometimes what you'll need to do is the same thing I showed you back in 2022, where you gotta make the blue box. So that's just what was easier for me. But you guys do you. And there you go. Actually looks pretty good. Then we go to bust, since it's the second biggest. And pretty much the same process, and I won't show you guys that just because I don't want to waste your time, but it is different with the portraits, and I will show that off. The thing is with 9.5 and 9.4, the portraits, even though they may look off, like you can see with Amy's, they're up here, and with Ashley's, they're down here, but either way, they still line up with the emblem, with like the portrait behind it. So you can do it either way. I would recommend doing Ashley's from 9.4 because that was always the easiest one for me because like let me see if I can show it off here. Kind of. Yeah, so Ashley's was up here before in 9.4 like how Amy's is. And what I would do is I would always put like the blue line right there and put the blue line right there and then just cut the rest of it Ashley's out and delete it, and then I would just put Bart's in, but back then I was doing it in center, but whatever, it's the same thing. I'll show you guys the stock icon real quick. Pretty much the same thing as with all the other ones, except all you gotta do is just shrink it. And then after this, I'll show you guys the name and how to make that. There we go. And then you're pretty much done. Just gotta take the blue off as usual. Alright, let's see how we did. Oh, well, might help if we go into the stock folder. Oh, that's right, I made it under P2. Yep, there we go. That's not bad. It'll work. And there we go. Alright, now we can move on to the name, because I know some of you probably don't know how to make that, so we'll show that off real quick. Now, depending on what the first letter of your character's name is, I would start with that and just copy and paste from someone else's name. Because like for Bart, I'm going with Bowser because there are some other ones that have B's, but like Black Mage and Bomberman, the B's are skinnier, or they're thinner, and they won't look as good. They'll look kind of weird, and when you stretch them out, they get really blurry, so that's why we're just going to go with Bowser on this. So what you do is you take all of this out. And the reason why I'm saving that bar is because we're going to need that for later. Take one of the ones that has like a shorter name that starts with an A, so since Amy's is in here, we'll just use hers. Put the A right next to the B. And get rid of the M and Y. Move the R right here. And now all we gotta do is find a T somewhere. I guess we could go with Marth. Well, actually, I have to move the bar over. Since there's an H at the end, gonna need space for both of them. And get rid of the H right there. And then bring the bar back here. Move it towards the middle. And take this. And then you can pretty much just erase around it. Like this. Too much. Just delete that. And then just bring this over here. There we go. It's not great, but it's not terrible. And like I said, if you're really that concerned about the details, just color this black around here. And then erase all the extra material up there. And then you're pretty much done. So we can save it and rename it. Now here's the thing. If you're going to put a name in for your character, you always want to make sure that you put an _0 right after their name. Because if you don't, it's not going to show up. Why? I don't know. But I think that's because, so you notice how with characters like Little Mac and who else? Ryu, wherever he's at, they have a 0 and a 1. And that's for like their two different attack modes. Because like if Little Mac didn't have this _1 for his second form, his name wouldn't appear. Well, I mean it would, but it wouldn't appear in this form. So that's why they have that, and that's why you got to make sure that your character always has an _0 at the end of it, otherwise it's not going to show up. Now, guys, we can actually go into the game and see how it looks. Just gonna erase this real quick. Alright, moment of truth. Let's see how we did.
looks pretty thin. The bust looks okay. That's not too bad. Let's see how it actually looks in a map or stage. Not bad, actually. Letters look okay. Portrait looks okay. And like I said, guys, you can literally just use the 9.4 portraits and they work. Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. And another thing I forgot to add was for the mugs, you can't reuse the 9.4 mugs. Well, you can, but they're gonna be off-centered and they're gonna look weird because for 9.5 they made the mugs bigger. So what you probably be better off to do is take the template and copy and paste that and just do the method that I showed you, except put the 9.4 mug into the portrait and then crop everything out and then just save it, and yeah, pretty much just do everything I showed you. But yeah, that's how you make GFX and sprites for Crusade. Hope the video was helpful, and I'll see you guys later.